you know, there are several things in people's lives, you know, events in people's lives that don't fade, you know, and you can always remember certain specific things that happen in your life, and it's clear as day, and that, to me, is one of them. I can remember that day as clear as it happened yesterday. I had a meeting with some people from the exchange up on the 7th floor, and we had gotten word, it was about 5 to 9, or it was when the first plane hit, and we had gotten word that a plane had hit the World Trade Center, but it didn't say anything other than that. So a lot of people thought it might have been a small, commercial plane. It's a lot of confusion, and I think that, people weren't sure if the exchange was going to open or not. The exchange hadn't come down and said that they were, that we weren't going to open, and nobody really knew what was going on. And you know what? You're being at the New York Stock Exchange, especially in 2001. It's a terrorist target. I mean, that was the other thing. There was a lot of people who had a very big fear that this was the next spot, and they didn't really know what was going on. So I think that, some people scrambled out of the building. I stayed here with my firm. We had a couple of people that were with us as guests that we tried to make sure that they were okay, and it was a lot of confusion. And the exchange what they had done is they had some sort of protective doors that they had dropped down. I don't remember the exact timing of it, but they had dropped some doors down because if something was going to happen outside of the building, this would at least protect us somewhat. And then after about half an hour, I think they lifted them up, people started leaving, and that's when the buildings came down. So the doors were open when the buildings came down, and all that powder, and it was just horrible. I don't think there's anybody in the metropolitan area that didn't know somebody who was affected by what happened on that day. During that time we were off, I was in shock, and and everybody had their moments of, whatever psychological problems. I mean, I had definitely, it triggered something in me. I was devastated from it. I couldn't stop crying. It was a horrible time frame. And then when we opened, I had to say that I felt probably the proudest I've ever been working on the trading floor, that they made it open. We got the building open and we worked. It was probably one of the toughest days I've ever lived, as an employee down on the floor. That was the hardest day. But I was very proud to be here, and I was very proud of the way the exchange and the way the community, held together. After we opened and we came back down, there was a horrible smell down here for months. And there was also, anytime you hear a fire engine, you'd flash back to that day, because that's all you heard was fire engines, police cars, all day long. And for months, longer than months, it was for years, a lot of people still had that feeling. Every time they'd hear a fire engine or a police car down here, they'd flash back to that moment. Now it's different. A lot of time has passed. I don't think the memories for anybody down here has faded that much, but I don't have that automatic trigger when I hear a fire engine or if I smell something that's unusual, because the smell down here was very distinctive, and it was not a good one, and that's something that I think that if I ever smell that again, I don't know what would happen. It was just horrible. I believe in, this country and the safety of this country, and the terrorists are never going to win. They can do whatever they want, and they can try to change us, but this is a free country, and I think that, I don't think you'll ever be able to change that, or at least I hope not.